preliminary recommendations are to build a number of new, small to medium-sized publicly accessible open spaces, to redesign a part of Subirman Park to provide new active recreational space, create strong connections between the waterfront and neighborhoods to the west, including Chinatown and North Beach, along Broadway and Washington or Clay. Private recreational facilities, such as the Golden Gateway Tennis and Swim Club, may complement public recreation facilities for certain segments of the population, but they do not fully replace the need for public recreation facilities. The Golden Gateway Tennis and Swim Club is used both by immediate residents, such as those of the Golden Gateway apartments, as well as by the general public, and it is a very important resource for these residents. Should its loss be threatened by new development that would displace it, those portions of the facility that now serve the immediate residents should be provided as part of any new development, and any lag time between its removal and replacement should be kept to a minimal, if at all. Principle 6, ensuring the high-quality design of streets along the waterfront. Streets that have special civic importance because of their location and/or width play a unique role in the city and merit the highest design standards and should offer a gracious public realm for pedestrians. The Embarcadero plays, as does Market Street, pictured here, a special role in defining the image of the city. Its overall width, the prominent role of public transit, the height and level of design, and the Embarcadero Promenade all express the street's importance. There are some challenges that should be addressed, though. Our preliminary recommendations are to dramatically improve the quality of the west side of the Embarcadero to complement the Embarcadero Promenade on the east side, and to improve the design of key intersections, highlighted here with red asterisks, to improve the comfort, safety, and ease of crossing streets. Principle 7, building with a civic vision along the Embarcadero. Development along the Embarcadero waterfront must match the street's civic importance in quality of design, choice of materials, building orientation, and active ground floors. The quality of the architecture and the civic prominence of a street are intertwined. Historic buildings and historic districts provide a public history of an area's evolution and must be respected. New development is obligated to continue this narrative through architecture that is honest to contemporary culture, building techniques, and materials. Buildings also need to be of sufficient height to provide a strong edge to the pedestrian realm while fitting in with their surrounding context. The proximity to transit, jobs, and other major destinations also influences the decision on height, as density is related to sustainability and environmentally sound planning practices. Our preliminary recommendations were based on these principles, as well as a detailed view analysis from a number of points in the area, pictured here. For example, we looked at how a number of height scenarios would affect views from the public terrace at the base of Coit Tower. The buildings in blue in this slide are one scenario that we explored. Similarly, we tested a number of ideas from various points along the Embarcadero. This image was taken from the northern edge of the ferry building and shows how things look today. It's important to note that this analysis was done only to study heights. This in no way suggests what we think buildings should look like. Indeed, this type of analysis shows a worst-case scenario, as real buildings will be highly articulated and use high-quality materials which make them fit in much better with the surrounding context. Generally, buildings look larger and more imposing in an analysis such as this, although it remains a very useful tool to understand how view access is affected. This image shows what an 84-foot building would look like on the site in terms of the views. This image shows what a 65 building on the Embarcadero would affect the views. And finally, this image shows how a 45-foot building on the Embarcadero would affect views. Our preliminary recommendations are: require high-quality design and materials, set heights to preserve key views and frame the pedestrian realm, maintain or lower heights in the study area. The parcels along the Embarcadero currently zoned for 40 feet will remain at 40 feet. The parcels immediately north of Washington Street should be limited to 65 feet on the Embarcadero. To preserve the key view of Coit Tower from the north edge of the ferry building, the department recommends a limited view corridor be considered to further sculpt the development of the Embarcadero. This could mean a possible reduction of height to 45 feet for some part of the building. For development fronting the Embarcadero between Jackson and Pacific Streets, the department recommends that heights be limited to 35 feet to facilitate views to Coit Tower and Telegraph Hill. For Drum Street, the frontage of the parcel bounded by the Embarcadero, Washington, Drum, and Jackson Streets, the department recommends a street wall height of 45 feet to reflect the street's width and respect the character of the Golden Gate development across the street. There should be at least a 20-foot horizontal setback, above which the building should be permitted to rise to 84 feet. Finally, Principle 8, designing in the context of adjacent neighborhoods. New development should respect the scale and character of the surrounding areas. This includes the special nature of the historic districts in and around the Northeast Waterfront. The Northeast Embarcadero Historic District, the Telegraph Hill Historic District, the Jackson Square Historic District, and the Embarcadero Historic District all provide an important context for new development in the larger area. By contrast, the Golden Gateway project, with its 215-foot towers, elevated public open spaces, and podium parking garages, remains a defining feature in the Northeast Waterfront, although not always a positive one. Our preliminary recommendations are: development should be consistent with and complementary to existing built fabric. As noted above, many of the public streets and rights-of-way in the study area serving the Golden Gateway project are lined with at-grade parking garages and elevated public open spaces. These design decisions, made several decades ago, severely undermine the quality and character of the pedestrian environment, offering austere ground floor frontages, which is especially concerning along streets identified in the study as potential neighborhood connectors, that is, Broadway, Clay, or Washington. At least on those streets identified as neighborhood connectors, the city should consider a program to correct this condition over time, perhaps in partnership with adjacent property owners. Such an effort might include the use of a portion of the public right-of-way to create ground floor activities that enliven the street and vastly improve them as pedestrian-friendly connectors to nearby neighborhoods. Thank you very much.